In the Balkans, there is a quiet and peaceful country called North Macedonia. It's a place where you can experience genuine local charm on a small budget. North Macedonia is a small country with an area of about 25,000 square kilometers and a population of only 2 million people. It's a landlocked nation surrounded by almost every other Balkan country: Albania, Kosovo, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Greece. In the south, it shares a part of the world-famous Lake Ohrid with Albania. People mainly visit two cities. One is Ohrid in the south, and the other is the capital, Skopje. If you look closely at Skopje's map, a river cuts through the city center. This is the Vardar River, and it divides the city in two. This division isn't just about urban planning. It represents completely different cultural characteristics. On one side of the stone bridge is the European quarter. It's filled with Western-style architecture, people who are lighter-skinned and look more Western, European food, cafes, and casinos. On the other side of the bridge is the Muslim quarter. Here, 1 out of 2 people speaks Albanian or Turkish, and the strong influence of Ottoman culture remains. The shops are mostly single-story, and the people look more like Albanians or Turks. There are many mosques, and the restaurants serve Middle Eastern-style grilled dishes. It feels like you are seeing 2 different cities within one. It seems that even after the Ottoman Empire lost its Balkan territories, the Muslims who lived there remained, preserving their culture. Interestingly, the majority of tourists in this area were from Turkey. When you start exploring Skopje, the first thing you'll notice is the countless statues everywhere. While they have meaning to the locals, for a visitor, the sheer number is a bit overwhelming. Of course, the Alexander the Great statue and the lion statues in the main square are truly grand and impressive. There are also boat-shaped cafes on the Vardar River. Some are abandoned and in terrible condition, but others operate as cafes and restaurants. The architecture of some buildings is beautiful enough to rival any European country. I'm talking about the casinos, hotels, and government buildings along the river, which look impressive day and night. The capital streets are mostly clean. At night, however, Skopje gets quite dark. A local friend told me the government does this intentionally to save energy. North Macedonia's flag, symbolizing the sun with yellow and red, suits the mild weather here. The capital, Skopje, has no subway or tram system. The city is very walkable, and many residents use bicycles or electric scooters. For public transport, they use red double-decker buses that look like the ones you'd see in London. When you look at the faces of North Macedonians, you see many smiles. They seem to live a stress-free life. They may not be wealthy, but they appear content with their lives. An interesting point is that the female population seemed quite large. I saw more women than men, especially between their 20s and 35s. It's a very young country. If you watch people cross the bridge for just a few minutes, you can easily see that more than half are under the age of 40. People here love to sit in cafes for hours, drinking coffee and chatting. They also pay great attention to their personal appearance and clothing. Men keep their hair and beards neatly trimmed, and women are stylishly dressed and wear makeup. It was a good sign of a civilized society that drivers almost always yield to pedestrians at crosswalks. But despite having so many wonderful young people, the country is ultimately losing them. When young people come of age, they leave North Macedonia for more developed countries. Because of this, the country remains underdeveloped. It needs more investment in development. Just outside the capital, many buildings and roads are in disrepair. Honestly, I don't know of a single world-famous brand from North Macedonia. It's hard to expect national development from only tourism and agriculture. Along the river, there are bike paths and walkways. The walls are covered in graffiti, which the government seems to accept. The benches along the river are spots for young couples to meet and experience love. Even though nearly half the population is Muslim, the country is full of casinos. The government likely sees this as a major source of revenue. Skopje has many clean, public drinking fountains, so you don't need to buy water. However, the country has a very serious problem, an overwhelming number of beggars and homeless people due to the economy. They are persistent and will latch on to tourists. Locals look down on them, often calling them gypsies. In my opinion, North Macedonia's biggest problems are its economy and the beggar situation. In the capital, you'll find a beggar every 100 meters on average. They occupy the most crowded areas, like the entrances to the bridge. They often use children to gain sympathy. They refuse offers of food and demand only money. After a few days, you realize this isn't about hunger. It has become a profession. Besides beggars, there are people in the square selling fake watches and perfumes. There is another scam on the bridge. A team of 3 or 4 people runs a find the ball under the cup game, a shell game. One person acts as a lookout, another as a spectator. One runs the game, and another acts as a shill, betting 50 euros. They want tourists to see someone win 50 euros and join in, but a real customer will always lose. In a country where people barely earn 300 to 400 euros a month, no local would bet 50 euros on a street game. If you pass the bridge for several days, you'll see the same guys running the same scam. Despite all this, you rarely see police in the capital. In the 1 week I was there, I didn't see a single proper police patrol. Of course, I respect the street musicians who play beautiful music. Regarding income, our local friend said retirees get about 150 euros a month, while workers get about 500 euros, though many earn less. The currency is the dinar, which has a low value. About 1 euro is 60 dinar. For tourists earning euros or dollars, eating and drinking here is almost free. A 7-night stay for 2 people in a clean, well-rated hotel costs about 250 euros. A full meal for 2, without alcohol, at the most high-end restaurant in the Muslim quarter is about 30 euros at most. A meal for 3 at a luxury restaurant in the European quarter is about 40 euros. The food isn't unique. It's mostly Turkish or other Balkan dishes, like kebabs, salads, and beans. The morning burak, a pastry, has very little meat filling, even if you order it with meat. However, our guide took us to a place for a meat soup that was truly unique and enjoyable with every spoonful. If you want to move here permanently, you can get residency by marrying one of the young, beautiful Macedonians you see in the squares. There are many single young women here. Another way is to invest or buy property. The government needs investment and welcomes those who want to invest. There is a public market open almost every day. You can find cheap, fresh fruits and vegetables. The country is mostly self-sufficient in produce, so there are no food worries. The Cam supermarket chain is also very cheap. The bazaar in the Muslim quarter has textile shops and, notably, many jewelry stores. The shopkeepers are very hard-working, friendly, and keep their shops clean. Skopje also has a university campus. The buildings are a bit old, but the students create a lively atmosphere. Outside the city, there's a large, beautiful city park next to the stadium. It's probably the largest green space in Skopje. If you want to live in the most quiet and peaceful place in the country, you must choose Ohrid in the south, not Skopje. Ohrid is a quiet resort town where the elite and immigrants live. Of course, houses are more expensive. An apartment in Skopje might be 50,000 to 120,000 euros, but a house in Ohrid could cost over 150,000 euros. Buying a car, however, is exceptionally cheap. A used car is around 5,000 euros, and a good new car is about 20,000 euros on average. Finally, a warning: if you plan to travel by bus from North Macedonia to other Balkan countries like Albania or Kosovo, good luck. A 4-hour trip took us 7 or 8 hours. We were on an old minibus with 2 drivers. They joked loudly and smoked inside the bus the entire trip. Do not expect comfort or professionalism from inter-country road travel. At least, that was our experience. These were our first impressions of North Macedonia. In the next video, our local friend will tell us more about her country. Thank you.